The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Live from Boston, Massachusetts, unscheduled with Les Skymo. First of all, I want to thank our military that's deployed all around the world for our safety and our freedom. Also want to thank their families for what they have to endure when their loved one deploys. And we're going to have a great program today. If you'd like to call in, it's 1-800-508-5431. And just give us a call, toll free there. And you'll be live around the world. And we're got some Facebook going on here. We're live streaming on Facebook. Dave, you want to introduce yourself, my special guest?
Same as last week, more or less. I'm Dave, and that's great to be here.
All right. Same as last week. That's good. Nothing changes. Then you won't be surprised. Dave, I got our phone number. It's 1-800 number. I got it spread out to several people, and all important people. And so I hope our 1-800 line, everything's good.
Let's get that number again, Les. 1-800-508-5431.
There you go. Now, folks, call if you have a question, comment, let us know. Now, we can't let you go on too long, but we'll give you, a little bit of time to say what you got to say. We'll answer it the best we can. Dave, I told you on the phone that I'd been in contact with this Melissa Atkinson. Now, she's running for the U.S. Senate, and our Josh Mandel, he dropped out. He was our Secretary of State, and so he dropped out, family problems with his wife. And but I think there's 3 other candidates that's running for this spot here. And she did get back with me, 1 out of about 4 or 5. It did say, yes, I will call into your show, but this afternoon she had an event. Our primaries are May the 2nd, and she's got a political event today, and she's doing fundraisers and all these politics. Busy time right now for them. But she's going to be calling me next week. She's going to be calling in to our show. She don't have nothing on her schedule. And but now, Dave, I think our last 2 shows was really great shows with Jane Doe, all the things that she was going through. I think that show set the mark for us to shoot at, because that was a pretty big deal, for her to go through that. And then I guess we was talking, she still loved the Lord and held on to God and the things she went through. And it still goes through from time to time. All right, let's change gears here. Do you know who Bill Benny is, Dave?
No, I think you'll have to fill me in on him.
All right. Now, if you remember back before the election, Trump Towers, President Trump was having all his meetings at Trump Tower there. Well, Bill Benning, he was head, he wasn't the head, he was NASA. He was an NSA technical director. Now, we all know what the NSA is. They collect all of our data. That's part of this Patriot Act deal. And so they developed the NSA to collect all this information. It's supposed to be on terrorists and only vital information that's connected with terrorism on the American people. Okay, but however, I commend this man. This man is high on my list for respect, Dave. He went to President Trump. He went to Trump Tower and he told President Trump before he was elected. He said he didn't say the NSA done it. Okay, but your building has been wiretapped. It's been bugged. Now, he went and told this President Trump before he was president. And he resigned because of what's going on now and what was going on then. And this goes straight to the top. This goes straight to Barack Hussein Obama. And we'll get into that here in just a little bit. But he resigned over this. And so he was, that's a high-paying dollar job. And a man must be very patriotic and love his country for him to do something like that. Now, here's something else Bill Benny did here just right recently. Bill Benny has submitted sworn affidavits to the 3rd and 9th Court of Appeals as exhibits. Now, where I got all this information from, I seen a little thing on my Facebook, on my timeline there. So I clicked on it, read what was there, and I dug a little deeper. And then I dug a little deeper, Dave. Well, come to find out, have you ever heard of America Restored?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay, now this is a relatively new organization. The ball started rolling on a lot of investigations in 2016. Now, this is the bombshell information that we're fixing to get in here to, that I've been telling the people the last couple of days about, Dave. As we sit here today, it just looks like the Barack Obama, Hillary, and Bill Clinton, even Chelsea Clinton, she was involved in a lot of this. It looks like they're getting away from this, all there, and the Haiti deal, where they ripped off all that money from the Haitians. It looks like to a lot of people that they're just going to get away scot-free. Well, folks, I want to give you some hope out there. I want to give you some information. Yes, and I was thinking the same thing too. And I'm so mad at Jeff Sessions, I could break a switch, pull his pants down, just cut the blood out of him, as Mama used to say.
Give him a good spanking.
Yeah, put him in the marching band, son. And
striped his leg.
That's right. I run across this America Restored, and this lady, Tommy Collins, she's a Christian woman, Dave. She prays about everything. She gathered with some of these people. She prayed with them right there on her videos that I watched. Now, Tommy Collins, that's a female. Now, she is the executive director of the America Restored. I put my phone number out there to her, and her handler said that she was really busy. They're in Washington, D.C. right now, Dave, and they're having a big powwow. Now, let me lay this on you, brother. Now, folks, listen real good here. You two on Facebook now, folks. This thing may not be over. They may not be getting away with what we think that that they have done. The evidence is there. 49 informants and over 100 contributors make up this large team of what they call White Hat. A White Hat, former intelligence operatives that are gathered in D.C. for a critical intel conference exposing the deep state. And I dug a little deeper, Dave. These are former NSA employees. These are former and present FBI agents. These are former and present CIA agents. 100, you might want to say 149 of them all together having a big powwow right now as we speak in Washington, D.C., they're accumulating all this evidence to present to the prosecutors on all these scoundrels up there. What do you think about that, Dave?
I'll tell you what, it's going to take a while to root it all out. It goes so deep into the so-called deep state that, to be honest with you, Les, I don't know if they'll ever be able to dig it all out. And they're just, it's like Obama. It came from the top down. When he wanted to protect himself, he didn't want Hillary indicted. He wanted her to be the next president.
Right.
But what happened was he was communicating her via email with on an unsecured system, and he knew it because he was using a pseudonym.
Yeah, absolutely.
He wasn't using his real name. So he knew that it wasn't a .gov address that he was typing in.
Yeah.
He knew exactly he was on an unsecured line.
Right.
And as president of the United States, you just can't do things like that. Because really, basically, everything, all of his communications is considered secret or top secret. It doesn't matter what subject he's talking about. It's all considered secret.
And they're all government property.
Exactly. And that's why he didn't want Hillary indicted, because the word came down from on high, from him down to Comey, do not indict her. Make it go away. And that's exactly what they did. They made it go away. But the question is, will these people ever be able to dig it up and have enough proof and evidence to show where it actually came from? Obama on down. And that's the question right there. Can they prove it? And if they can, you're going to see heads roll.
Well, they're supposed to have a news conference, public news conference, this week or next week. Now, you can go on their website. They have a Facebook. You can go on their Facebook on Tommy Collins America Restored Facebook. Now, I'll tell you something about the NSA, and what's his name? I'll find his name here in a minute. She was interviewing him, and he said people think they're just gathering intelligence evidence. He said no, they're collecting everything on the American people.
Sure.
And he said that they already have one building built that's a 1 million square foot facility in Utah to store this information. And now they're building a 2.8 million square foot facility at Fort Meade. They can turn on your webcams on your computer. They can turn on your smart televisions and listen to what's going on in your home. If you have a camera on your television, they can turn it on. They can turn on your smartphone. They can monitor what you're saying on your smartphone. If it's this new technology, all this smart stuff, that's how the NSA is illegally getting into all your stuff. And it's just like this thing going on with Mueller right now. All that was that fake dossier and all that. Okay, a lot of that information that they used to get that FISA warrant. Okay, that was a NSA judge that went through for them to get that.
I mean FISA.
A FISA judge. Mm-hmm. Okay, now, and the NSA, some of these people was in on this stuff, and there's no doubt about it. Now, this is what the 149 people, I don't know how many of them's in Washington right now, but here's what they've compiled already. Okay, already, David, they have compiled 27 felonies by present and past FBI agents and other people. Okay, they're right now. That's probably just tip of the iceberg. Okay, right now they have 8 people targeted that they want indicted, that they're gathering all this information. on now, and it goes to the top. So that sounds to me like that includes Hillary Clinton, that includes Barack Hussein Obama. And another thing that Tommy said also, she said there are investigating these voting machines, that they have intel that the Democrats, the deep state, are going to try to manipulate the 2018 midterm.
The thing about it, though, every state has a different voting system. You remember in Ohio, we used to have the Chads. You just punch the card.
I remember the hanging Chad.
Yeah, you punch the card, and now they went away, done away with that, and to another system. But if you look at all 50 states, they're all a little bit different, and they're not all online.
Right.
So, this business about the Russians affecting the election, there's no way they could, because all that's not on the internet. All that is self-contained within the state. Then the state gathers their data, and then they put it out.
Right.
It's done, I think, through the Secretary of State, and all that voting, all the votes are tabulated, and they're put out as being a final result. It usually takes a couple days before they count all the votes.
Right.
But for people to say that, our votes could be affected by the Russians, it's just plain crazy.
Right.
There's no way, because if we were all in the same system, all interconnected with the internet, and we just all got online and we voted that way, sure, it could be it could be hacked and they could manipulate the figures. But the way it is now, there's just too many different systems for them to, I think, have any detrimental effect on voting, the tabulating of the votes in the U.S. It just, to me, it would seem impossible. And there may be smarter people than me that figure out a way to do it, but the people that I've heard talk on the subject that are in the know say it just cannot be done.
Right. Yeah. Now I agree as a whole. Okay. But now she didn't stipulate exactly. She didn't go into no detail about this. But just from my own experience, what the stuff I dug up. You've got states that's giving illegals driver's license. Right. Arizona, California. They go on. I think Michigan done that too.
Well, see, that's the whole deal, Les, is that the Democratic Party wants illegal immigration because it's future voters for them.
Absolutely.
That is their new future voting base.
Exactly.
And we already know that Hispanics outnumber blacks by quite a bit. And they're going to be the powerful voting bloc in the future, and that's why they want the borders open, that they can come in at will and do it, because they know who they're going to vote for.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They know who butters their bread.
The ones that will vote.
Exactly.
Yeah, but now see, and not only that, Dave. Every day, when I go on the computer, it seems like every day, I see more and more black conservatives. Mm-hmm. And especially the middle age and older, our age, they're waking up, brother. They're realizing, and they don't all carte blanche vote Democrat. However, the majority of them, the blacks, did vote Democrat. But you're seeing more and more, and I've seen a lot of millennials starting to come up, the black millennials that's saying, hey, hold on, wait a minute. There's so many of them.
What's the Democrat Party ever done for them?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing. They just want their vote, and not just cast them off. But black unemployment is down under President Trump.
Hispanic
too. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't realize this, but when I was a kid, that's been years ago, I'm 64 years old, but even before, when I was a kid, most black people were Republicans.
Yeah.
It's a fact.
Right.
And it's a party of Abraham Lincoln.
Exactly.
It's gone down through the decades, and it wasn't until the 1960s that began to change.
Right.
And it changed in a big way. It changed in a big way.
Yeah, and the South changed.
Because the Democrats courted their vote by making them promises that they really couldn't keep. And the promises they made, like the war on poverty back in the Lyndon Johnson days in the mid-'60s, it just didn't work out. I mean, poverty is just almost as bad as it was back then if you take a percentage. But what it did was it caused the birth rate of blacks to go up and men to not marry their girlfriends or wives, not marry them and just have kids, because the deal was that you could get welfare.
Right.
And that's why the Democrat Party, they bribed the blacks into voting for them.
The Great Society.
Right, exactly. Most people know that.
That the Welfare Act of 1963, I think.
It might have been four.
Somewhere. He made a statement. I won't use the exact word, but it's documented that LBJ used the word. He said, "Y'all pass this." He told his party, he said, "We'll have them Negroes voting Democrat the rest of your life."
It's the same thing today with Hispanics. They want to provide a way for Hispanics to come in great numbers so they can be a majority voting bloc.
Right.
It doesn't take that many votes to swing an election. Look, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote this last time by about 3 million, and that was due to California.
Right.
California's a huge state, and she happened to get 3 million more votes than Trump did. So this is the future for the Democrat Party. They want people dependent upon government. And if you're dependent upon government, you are not going to bite the hand that feeds you.
Right.
You're going to vote for those who butter your bread or give you the benefit.
Well, see, and when they done that, and I don't blame the blacks for taking them up on it, because, it was hard times, brother, and it was hard times back then for everybody. But what happened, every time, the Democrats was in charge, the Democrats was holding them down with one hand, holding them down and reaching them a check with the other hand. It's kind of the sleight of hand is what they was doing to them.
They want them dependent upon government, not to be independent.
Right.
See, the Republican Party wants you to be independent, wants you to make a go of it, wants you to start businesses, wants you to be independent.
Right.
They want you to have the freedom to do these economic things. But the Democrat Party, they do not want that. That's why they're so opposed to the tax cut. They did not want the United States citizens to receive a tax cut. They say it's for the rich, but it's really not. But think about this, too. If you're rich, you pay the bulk of the taxes in this country.
Sure.
I mean, there's 49% of the United States citizens don't pay any taxes. Matter of fact, they get money back, earned income tax credit. They're not doing that well. I've been a taxpayer for many years. I pay taxes every year. I have to pay in.
Oh yeah, I've had to write a check or two.
And it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
If you make a decent living, you have to pay taxes.
Right.
But there's so many people that don't make a good living.
Right.
And that's who the Democrat Party, they want them to vote for them. It's all a question of power.
Oh,
that's why there's term limits will never get voted in.
Right.
Because people love their power. Once when you get money in this country, Les, the next thing you want is power. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened with Hillary Clinton. She had money. Her and Bill, filthy rich. They have all the money they'll ever need. Yeah. But what did she want? She wanted so bad to be the president of the United States.
Thought she had it in the bank.
And that's why she flipped out, went crazy afterwards, and she's blaming everybody.
Yeah.
The list is like 60-some different entities that she's blaming for her loss.
Right.
When she didn't go to Wisconsin. She didn't go to Michigan.
Right.
She went to Pennsylvania at the last minute. And the only way she could attract crowds was have a rap star there. Or a hip-hop star.
Yeah.
That was the only way she could attract a crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody wanted to see that lady.
Right.
And she can't get it out of her head that people just didn't like her.
Right.
And Donald Trump worked harder. He worked harder.
Absolutely.
And that's why he's president today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Dave. And, he's fearless. Donald Trump he's pretty much fearless. And, but now they did get him. When I think they did sucker him into that signing that budget bill.
The 1.3 trillion omnibus spending bill.
You know what that reminded me of? And you'll recognize this statement, read my lips.
No new taxes.
Yeah.
George H.W. Bush.
Yeah. And
I think it was 1991 or...
Yeah, I think it was.
It might have been, no, it was during... He's running against Dukakis in 88.
Yeah, 88.
Yeah, that's
in
what
1988. And, but that's what it reminded me of. But, I'll give him that. He's a rookie politician. And so, I'll give him that one, Dave. I mean, I didn't like it. And I said from the beginning, I said that I know the man's going to do some things I disagree with. Mm-hmm. However, he's America first. Mm-hmm. He's all about America first.
I agree. He is.
And
he loves this country.
Oh, he does. He loves this country. His mother and father were immigrants. They come over here just like what was that guy? Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger come over here, 16 years old, had 10 cents in his pocket. Okay, and look at him now. President Trump's mom and dad come over here, immigrants. Didn't have 2 pennies rubbed together. All right, and he become a real estate guru. Donald Trump followed in his footsteps, and look at him now. He applied himself. He set a goal, and he didn't let anything sidetrack him from that. And it's no different than people that's in college or fixing to get out of high school. People don't owe you anything, David, in this country. Now, our government sucks. It's done a lot of things wrong. We don't have a constitutional republic. We just got remnants of it. However, it's still the best place on the face of the earth, even in its current state, to live and to prosper, and to take advantage of the many freedoms that we still have, Dave. But you got to get off your hind end. You got to go out here, put your shoulder to the wheel, and brother, you got to fight, kick, and scratch until you dig you out of living, brother. Because who is going to, if everybody's on welfare, if everybody's getting a government check, who's going to pay the bill, brother?
But what'll happen is we'll end up like Europe.
Yeah.
You know what happened to Greece?
Oh, boy.
Their public assistance is so high they can't afford to pay their bills.
Right.
Nobody's working.
Right.
I mean, we are rapidly approaching that point because of our debt. When the debt gets so high, get this, the only thing that saves this country right now is low interest rates.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
What happens, though, Les, when the interest rates go to 8, 9, 10, 11%? And I've seen that before in my day.
Oh, yeah.
And when that happens, the government will be spending almost, $1.5 trillion on just the interest?
Oh, just the interest.
On the debt?
Yeah.
How are we going to pay it?
Yeah.
Right now it's, 3, 4, 500 billion? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
It fluctuates according to the
21 trillion in debt, I know
according
that.
to the economy, but how in the world are we ever going to maintain this spending spree? It's going to have
That's
to stop.
a good question.
We are going to have to pay the piper.
There
will come a day when we will have to pay the piper.
It's just like taking and I was thinking about this today, Dave. You take a water balloon, okay? You don't have to put much water in it. Don't matter. It's irrelevant how much water you put in the water balloon. Tie it shut. And you just start applying pressure, a little bit at a time, The old boil and the frog deal, same thing. Sooner or later, that balloon, you just keep adding a little pressure, it's going to bust. Now, you look at my whiteboard right over there, Dave. In 1871, okay, there's where it started going wrong. But there was plans for this for a long time ago. In 1871, the Congress passed the District of Columbia Act. They also called it was also called the Organic Act. All right, Ulysses S. Grant signed, the District of Columbia Act. I wish people would research this. What that done, and if you look at the Constitution of the United States after 1871, every letter in it where it says Constitution it used to say Constitution for the United States of America. That was our 1770, actually I think it's 81, the time it's all ratified, 1789. But when it was all ratified, it used to say Constitution of the United States of America. After 1871, every letter on the heading of our Constitution was capitalized. Okay, and they changed the word for to of. Constitution of the United States of America, and it's all caps. Now that goes really deep, Dave. When I started researching this stuff, I couldn't believe our own government would do us this way. Exactly what that done. That registered our federal government as a corporation. Okay, we had war debt. We still had debt from the Revolutionary War. And then along come the Civil War. They had War of 1812. Okay, we had a lot of debt from the wars. Okay, and we owed I think we owed France maybe some. And but anyway, instead of them doing it the right way and trying to sit and figure out, and I'm sure there's a lot, they put their heads together. Okay, but if this was the best them guys could come up with, they're tyrants. They have committed treason, brother, because they took the Republic of the United States away from us that we was guaranteed under our ratified Revolutionary War Constitution. They stole that from us, and they give us a corporation. And now your local governments, all the way down to the dog catcher, is corporation. Now, what did that allow their governments to do, Dave? That allowed our governments to borrow money. It allowed them to operate in debt. Now you have people working for the government, okay, that are in unions. They're getting retirements from the government. Our government was never meant for people to go and make a living at. That was the beginning of the ultimate corruption that we deal with today. And you can research it, and I'll put $1,000 challenge out there. I've done this a long time ago. Anybody that can convince me that we live in the same republic that our founding fathers give us, you convince me of that, I'll pay you $1,000. We do not live in a constitutional republic.
Of course we don't. Back in those days, there wasn't no federal income tax, was there?
No.
Well, first, how did we ever survive the first 100 years of this country without a federal income tax?
Oh my gosh, how did we survive
But now, look, it's basically the Congress passed a law to steal from the people that they rule over.
Thank you, David.
That's exactly what they do is they steal your money, and people are so used to the stealing, they don't care anymore. They don't even look at how much the government took out on their check. They don't care. They say, well, I'll let them take a little bit extra, I'll get back more at the end of the year.
Right.
They use it like it's some kind of crazy savings account, which is beyond me why I do that. But it is actually, and you know what really frosts me is that the Democrats, when the Republicans want to pass a tax cut, they look at the Republicans and say, well, how are we going to pay for it?
Oh, that burns me up.
How are we going to, what?
Oh,
it's our money.
Yeah.
They're just giving our money back to us. They're not taking as much money from us as they could, and they're so greedy, and they never have enough money to spend. That's why they're in debt. They can't live within their means. So what they do, they want to raise taxes. So it's a question of power. The more they raise taxes on the wealthy or the ones that can pay it, the more constituents they can get on the lower end, and they can flip it around to where they never go out of power. And this is what made them so mad this time.
Oh yeah.
That Trump come along and he actually got elected. They couldn't believe it.
Oh, it blew them all away.
Because they said, well, with our programs, they think they're absolutely right with everything they suggest, or every law they pass. They think they're absolutely right. And they think that, well, they can't even understand why anybody else would be against it. Mm-hmm. You'd seem like a kook or somebody crazy if you're against what the Democrats put out. But they steal our money legally.
Oh, yeah.
They pass laws to raise our taxes, And basically that's theft.
Well, sure it is.
Legal theft.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
And nobody thinks of it that way. But back in the early part of the 20th century, nobody paid taxes.
Right.
I mean, you might pay taxes on a state level, like if you bought something, you pay taxes, or perhaps a gasoline tax, which was small. But
that was
right.
Okay. There's some taxes that's okay to pay.
You have to pay a little to keep society, the government basically going. Because you have to have a military.
Yeah.
You have to pay for it. You have to. But these the other things that they invented, nobody. If the country was ran like it was in the 19th century, it'd be an entirely different country.
Everybody would be wealthy.
Yeah, well, they would.
We would all be wealthy, Dave, because you bring it down to the hello, everybody on Facebook. We ain't neglecting you, Mom. We got any questions?
No, none yet.
I got my mother monitoring my Facebook. She had to retire from alligator wrestling the other day, Dave. She pulled her shoulder out of place. Well, she's only 82. I don't understand it.
Start wrestling the smaller gators, maybe the one only 4 or 5 feet long.
Well, her sister would tag team. Her and Emily would tag team them gators, and
I'd stay away from them 8 or 9, 10 footers. They're just too
much.
Yeah.
Well, she'll be all right though. She didn't get bit. So. But you bring that on down to the state level where we live now. We read in the Bible where God give us dominion over all these things, the animals and the land. And I tell you what, they talk about Teddy Roosevelt. Now he was a war hero. He was a lot of ways he was okay. But I could. That's another one I could take a switch to.
Donald said to tell you hello.
Hey, Donald, how you doing, buddy? But what he done, starting all these national forests, that should be all private property. The states and the federal government have no business owning all that land, Dave. But see, people are groomed over the last 100 and some odd years. The schools, our children's been institutionalized. Now, back in the old days, it was up to me and you to educate our children. Now we've got public schools where our children are forced to go to school. It's not up to you no more. But you got teachers walkouts, you got teachers unions, you got teachers that make, I looked this up in Oklahoma, you got teachers that make from $40,000 to $60,000 a year, teachers. And they work, 9 months a year? Okay, they're walking out because they want a pay raise. That's taxpayers' money. That's the kind of government we have today, and everybody's been groomed for it, see, all these years. Now, who's these? The only ones that pay for these school levies are the people that own property. Most, if not a lot, if not most of these property owners are elderly, Dave. Okay, that's who it hits. That's who it hurts. Is your old man and old woman that's on Social Security. They finally, when they was young, bought their dream home and moved in their dream home. Now they're getting thrown out of it and forced to go to a nursing home because they can't pay property tax on their property. That's where it hurts us at the local level. And I've been all over all these politicians over this unconstitutional stuff, Dave. 4 times that's been ruled by the Ohio State Supreme Court to be unconstitutional. They're supposed to retool it, but they're still doing it.
But Les, it's what it is, though, is it's just taken for granted.
Sure it is.
People say, well, I've been paying taxes since I was a kid. It's normal, we've been paying them. Well, we can't do without less.
Yeah,
but actually we can. And there will come a day when this country will find out that it can't get no more credit. It can't borrow no more money. It's going to have to do one of 2 things. It's either going to have to go bankrupt, or it's going to have to
start seizing our property, brother.
Raising taxes even more, and to the point people just can't pay it. It's going to be that way. It's going to take away all the Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, all all the entitlements are going to be gone. They're going to be gone. They have to, because they can't. They won't be able to pay for them.
Yeah, well, let me lay something else on you. Under the 1871 District Act of Columbia, the District of Columbia Act, the federal government can seize all your assets and all your bank accounts and all the factories. They go communist just like that to keep from filing bankruptcy.
Yeah, they can do that. They can do that without all that. If you're a suspected drug dealer, they can take everything you own, everything.
Yeah, even without being convicted.
Right, you're presumed guilty, and they can take your stuff and sell it at auction even before your trial begins.
Oh yeah,
and if you're found innocent, they'll say, "Well, it's too bad.
Yeah,
your stuff's gone."
But see,
and you have no recourse.
And what
you can't sue the government.
Right.
You can't do nothing about it. You just have to like it.
Well, sure.
You like it or you don't.
From the White House to the dog catcher, they got their foot on our throat, Dave. It's all there are to it, and it's terrible. And well, we sure went on this one for a while, but it's the truth. People need to know this stuff. They need to know what kind of government we have. Right now today in our public schools, where there's $40,000 to $60,000 a year teachers going out on strike, they're still teaching in the schools that we're a constitutional republic. Mm-hmm. Quit lying to our children. This is a corporation. This is no different than Walmart, Montgomery Ward's. You name it. It's no different than Elder Bierman, Dave. Now, we are the collateral because I showed you where I pulled my birth certificate right off of the stock market on a U.S. government website where all of our children's and our birth certificates, we signed them into slavery because do you ever think that there'll be a day where maybe in America we'll be put in FEMA camps to labor for this country? I mean, if we go bankrupt, what choice do they have? Is there going to be a bloodbath? What is it coming to in your mind, Dave?
But see, the thing about it is, Les, if say we keep on this spending spree and we do go bankrupt, it will affect and infect the entire world.
Well, sure.
But who are the Chinese going to spend?
Yeah.
Are they going to send $400 or $500 billion worth of products to every year? Who are the Europeans going to trade with?
Exactly.
Who's the Canadians and Mexicans and South Americans going to trade with? We are, in effect, the biggest trader. We trade with more countries, and we exchange more money than anybody else in the world.
And we also grow more food than anybody in the whole world.
If you look at Russia, Russia's economy is not even that of California.
Yeah,
it's not. California has the bigger domestic product output than the entire
country.
Russia.
Yeah.
Now I find that amazing.
Yeah.
Now Russia takes 12 time zones. That means Russia from one end to the other is halfway around the world.
Halfway around the world.
There are 24 time zones in the world, and Russia takes up half of the world's space. Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
And this third-rate country like Russia is challenging us to an arms race.
Yeah.
This is stupid and crazy.
Right.
They can't even feed their own people. I mean, it's a population of 150 million people, give or take. The country of Pakistan is larger population-wise than Russia and takes up far less land, but it's a third world country with nuclear weapons. Look at India, 1.2 billion people. They have a growing economy. China's the same way, approximately the same amount of people. But you take India and China, that's half of the world's population there in those two countries.
Yeah.
And they don't like each other.
Right.
The thing is, we should be in the driver's seat in every facet. And Trump's right. When the Iranians threaten us, we could turn that into a big glass parking lot.
Oh,
the whole country.
Yeah.
I mean, all the sand that's in that country, we could turn it. It would be heated up to a point to where it would turn to glass.
Yeah.
From thermonuclear weapons.
There's no doubt.
So these pipsqueak countries need not mess with us.
Right.
And I don't know what's going to happen in North Korea, but Kim Jong-un would be smart if he did get rid of his nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
If that happens, that'd be great. But
Right.
who knows how it's going to turn out.
What you got over there, Mom?
Donald, see if you had mentioned the road mark.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right, Donald. We're about to make history right here in Franklin, Ohio, when our road marker that the Daughters of the Confederacy, that coward took it down over here in Franklin. Well, it's about to go back up at the north end of Franklin up there. They got the foundation. And what it is, it's a road marker to mark Dixie Highway. Mm-hmm. And when it was completed, the Daughters of Confederacy donated that to the township. Well, long story, they had it moved. City of Franklin had it moved. So a friend of mine, Donald, spearheaded the movement to get that put back up. And it's about to go back up, so this little town of Franklin, Ohio, is going to make history, folks. Out of all the monuments the communists and ISIS has struck down here in America, there's going to be one little road marker with Robert E. Lee's picture on it, and sitting on his horse Traveler that's going back up at the Federal Order of the Eagles here pretty soon. So, only one in history, Dave.
That's great news. I'm glad to hear it. I heard something this morning, Les. It's not going to bounce this off of you and see what you think. There's a former NFL kicker. His name's Jay Feely. And he took a picture standing next to his daughter and the boy that was going to the prom. And Jay Feely has a 9mm pistol at his side. Mm-hmm. And you can see the gun. He's holding it. Mm-hmm. And this has upset people so much that they think, well, he said it was unloaded. Didn't have a bullet in the chamber. No round in the chamber. Nothing. It was empty.
Yeah.
But yet people would take no thought if he had a baseball bat and it looked like he was going to hit the date up on the head with the baseball bat. They wouldn't take any thought of that.
Well, it's like I said, we've been groomed, Dave. It's just like this financial stuff. Just like the situation we're in here in America. They're like paying taxes. Over the years, it's just so natural for us to do this without giving a thought that we've lost our freedom. Mm-hmm. And I've said this, I tell this to every politician I run into. America is in such bad a shape. Okay, we're $21 trillion in debt, okay. But it gets worse than that as far as I'm concerned, Dave. It's so bad here in America, this country that I love. I wouldn't want to be born anywhere else on the planet. Even with my complaints, this is still the best place in the world to live. But it's so bad that a homeless man cannot go to this river and catch a fish and eat it for his own sustenance without the threat of jail and or a fine. Yeah. God give us dominion over that. Now, if the state come along and said, now, the bass population's down, you can only take 5 bass, or you can only take 3 cat, that's okay. Okay, I can dig that. That's okay.
Well, I've seen the game warden make a raid down there on the river.
Yeah.
They pull up all the time.
But you know what they're doing? They're checking licenses. Mm-hmm. If you haven't purchased a license from the king, then you get a ticket. Right. That's what it's revenue.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it is. And I heard this other.
We've been groomed. We've been groomed for that. Just like the guns.
Yeah.
People freak out. They see the guns. They've been conditioned.
Exactly. I heard this other thing this morning. It kind of surprised me. It says GQ magazine says that the Bible is one of the most overrated books in history. It's one of 21 books you don't have to read before you die.
Oh, an abomination.
This is what GQ magazine says.
Oh, Lord.
It's overrated.
Yeah.
I'm thinking,
yeah.
I mean, this is the book, the roadmap to life that God gave us.
Death ain't the time to find out if God's real, brother.
But think about that. You don't have to read it before you die. That's the best time to read it is before you die. Because you're gonna learn it firsthand once when you die.
Lord, it's too late then, brother.
But there is a God in heaven.
You better believe it.
And people refuse to believe that, but it doesn't change the fact. I may not believe that if I climb one of these towers over here and I jump off of it, I'm not going to hit the ground. I don't believe in gravity. but nevertheless, I'm going to hit the ground
You're gonna
because
hit the ground.
gravity exists, and it will prove itself.
Exactly.
And I just find it amazing that the world, they look at things and they look at it and say, well, it can't be because we can't see it.
Bible says even the animals know there's a creator.
Just look up in heaven, you see the stars and you see outer space.
Yeah.
You think, well, how did we get here? How did we get here, and who made us?
Well, I got one for you. We had some termites up in the church. And so Termite Man come up there. Me and Alan met him up there. And so he had to do some drilling into the foundation, spraying stuff. So we had all that prepared for him. And so he's telling me about the termite colony, about this stuff he sprays. And he said, termites, the queen has her chamber. Okay, the worker termites, okay, they got their chamber. Okay, and then there's another, I think he said another set of termites. I forget what he called them. But anyway, these termites, they go eat the wood. They come to this one feeding chamber, right? I think's what he called it. And whatever they eat, your wood, they regurgitate that up. Okay, then it makes a mound. Then after a while, it starts to ferment. And it gets all fuzzy and nasty, moldy, That's what they feed to them juvenile termites. That's what they eat. And he said that these things can live 30 to 50 foot underground. Okay. And he described a very elaborate system for these termites. Same with ants are a lot alike. But when you look at that, it has to be a design.
Sure.
That's just like when I catch a fish. That fish breathes the same oxygen that I do, but he gets it out of the water. How does that happen?
But Les, consider this, that they say we got here accidentally, or it happened by evolution, that we just, had gunk in a stream and turned to ooze, and this ooze turned to a higher life form, and it evolved into a higher life form. Well, if that's the case, with all of our technology, why can't we reproduce people? Why can't we reproduce people? We can't. Well, if it was done accidentally,
that's a great question.
Then why can't, with all of our technology, reproduce the accident?
Right.
But we can't.
Right.
We cannot. Human beings don't have the knowledge or ability to create life.
Right.
And that's a pretty amazing thing right there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, with all of our intelligence, all the medical breakthroughs that we have, and we still don't know half of what there is to know about curing disease like cancer, heart disease, all these different problems, Alzheimer's, all these different maladies that affect human beings. We don't know how to cure them because we don't know how it works.
Right.
You have to know how something works in order to fix. Like if your car breaks down, you have to know how the car works in order to diagnose what went wrong with the car, how to fix it.
Exactly.
We don't know enough about the human body to even fix it.
Right.
So, people that say evolution is the way we got here, if you think about that for a second, it's stupid. It takes more faith to believe in evolution than it does to believe in God.
Oh, yeah. Well, why don't you see monkeys in transition?
You don't?
You don't. It's because it never did happen. No. Dave, everything that is here, everything we enjoy, all our pleasures, TVs, radios, even the clothes on your back, that hat, your glasses, everything that is man-made is components of things that's already here.
Yeah.
Man has never made anything out of nothing.
Yeah, right.
It's already was here prepared for him. He just had to bring them together. And
all we do is rearrange things that God created.
That's a good word for it.
We just rearrange it. We make it into a different form.
That's a good word.
All the elements of it already existed.
Exactly. Yeah.
And to think about human beings compared to a lump of coal is just no comparison.
Don't make no sense.
No, we didn't come from organic substances like
organic matter,
like green algae and slime or whatever that formed into a tadpole, and it crawled up out of the water and formed a frog or some kind, and then it evolved into another critter of some kind. No, We were designed by a designer, a grand design,
Yeah.
and that was God Almighty. He designed us to serve Him.
That's the only reason.
And you will serve somebody. I don't care who you are.
That's right.
You will serve
Yeah.
something. You either serve alcohol, drugs, sex, whatever. But you will serve something,
You'll serve
and you'll be dedicated toward it.
Right, yeah. That's human nature. That's called that fallen nature of man.
Exactly.
You know, and well, Dave, we don't have a whole lot of time left here, but you know, backtrack a little bit. I hope these guys, these 149 people, can bring some justice. I hope they get these evidence in the hands of the right prosecutors, and this joint task force is the name of these people, the 149. We got 30 seconds there, Dave.
The thing scares me, though, is that what happens is that the people that Obama left, they're still there.
They're still
in the deep state.
Yeah,
so it's going to take getting over the obstacles that they lay down to get, to get justice.
Well, hey, folks, God bless you. I appreciate you tuning in, those of you on Facebook. And Dave, you want to sign us out real quickly?
Well, we'll try to be here next week at same bat time, same bat chance.
Thank you. God bless you. Tim.